So I'm just going to kind of reverse engineer what they did so you can kind of get an idea of how an LG or a Samsung, they both are built the exact same way. So you should be able to do this on either. But you should really clean it out. You've seen what came out of the bottom, but let me show you how to disconnect this. Slide around this way. So it's pretty straightforward. There's 2 screws in here, and you're just going to undo these 2 screws. Come on, get in there. Right, once those 2 screws are out, set them aside, and then this just pops back. You're just going to give it a little shove, and you're going to just pop. Now you'll notice here that you've got these little holes. These little holes line up with the clips. Don't you look through the camera. So they line up with these clips, right? So you simply take this apart and you start exposing your drum, right? The rest of this comes pretty easily. This snaps off. You look down in here, and these 2 things right here, you disconnect these 2, right? So that gets disconnected. This gets disconnected, right? So they color code each other, so you shouldn't be too bad. Green with a rainbow, black, you know, they line up. And then this part snaps out. Come on, there it goes. Come on. Nope, this just comes off. Well, come on, there it goes. Lift it up. There you go, lift it up. There you go. There's little hooks right here, and these hooks hook into here. Are you looking? See where? You gotta look at this.
I'm looking at it.
Right, so then when you put it back, you can see that this just comes disconnected, right? So that's pretty straightforward. You set that aside, and then from here, you start taking off the rest of this. I'm going to do it real quick just to show you, but again, not very hard. You open up the door. There's 2 screws down here. There's 1 here. So you undo that one, and you undo that one, and then there's 4 screws along the front. There's 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. Once those are out, then you can lift this door up, and it just comes out right down there on the bottom. Whoops, you got to disconnect that, sorry. And this, you can set this aside. Right, so now that this is set aside, I'm not going to disconnect the rest of it because you already saw what it looked like. I'm just going to explain it here real quick. So back over here, the next thing you're going to do is disconnect this screw, and that screw, and this screw, and this screw, and that screw. Or no, not that one. This one, yeah, those are the right ones. And then this metal panel right here comes off. And then you unscrew this one, and that one, and down here on the bottom where that's your blower vent right here. And then the same thing on this side and this side. So this comes off, and then you're left with the drum. And the drum, if you look up here on top, has a belt on it, and the belt goes down and around a clutch. And you'll see the clutch in the other part of the video, but you just release the tension off the clutch, and then you simply slide the belt off the clutch. And this is a freestanding. It's sitting on rollers inside here and on the back. And you'll see those in the other part of the video. And then from there, you take the drum out, and you can vacuum out the whole inside. And in our case, you'll notice some dirt right here. This is made of stainless steel, but the front is not. And so since the barrel rides against this and the front, the paint was getting rubbed off, and since it wasn't stainless steel, the moisture started to rust, and then we got rust marks, what we thought were burn marks, but really are rust marks on the shirts. And so anyway, this would, if you're getting rust marks, flip your drum. These drums are reversible, so you can just rotate them. If you aren't getting hot air, it's probably your thermostat. You want to check your drain and make sure all the lint is gone. And then from there everything else should work. And so I'll show you the thermostat again, how we tap it out, so that you can see whether or not it has voltage going through it. And then from there, that was a $56 part. The overall repair was about $225, not counting the second trip when he had to come back to fix the thermostat. And usually appliance people will not touch your venting, and so because it's not part of the appliance. And so the fact that he left and the vet had as much trash in as possible, he was very kind, very good, very knowledgeable, and suggested we call a vent person because that's not his job. I appreciate that. But before you have him push it back, just stop, have him go, pay him, and clean out your vents, because your vents are going to be your biggest problem. So good luck. Okay, so that piece right there. So this was our problem. The thermostat. The thermostat, which controls the heat, sets to 170, and it burned out. And the reason why it burned out is because we failed to do our normal maintenance. Normal maintenance means you should clear out your dryer vent. So obviously, hold still. Obviously the dryer vent has got way too much stuff in it, and this goes through that wall to the outside of the house. So because this was blocked, that meant there was too much heat inside the heating coil, which burned out the thermostat. You can see the same level of muck right here. So if I grab this, it's pretty solid right there. That whole piece just came right out. And if I stick my hand even further in there, oh my gosh, there's a ton of it, right? So all of this stuff is creating a problem, right? So that's what came out of just the direct dryer. Obviously, I'm going to cut down on my flow of air from the dryer to the outside of the house. And because the vent is a good 12 feet through the attic to get to the outside of the house, any restriction in this flow, and you can see here the same thing is occurring on this side. So if I reach in there, it's not wet, which is good, but just hasn't been ever cleaned out. And so it's pretty, and each one of these little curves creates a bottleneck where this lint, holy cow, where this lint actually gets hung up. And when it gets hung up, then it's not going to dry. It's not going to work. And so I'm just going to get it all out of here. And it's been here a long time. And because of that, the airflow's been bad. And because the airflow's been bad, obviously this is a metal one. You wouldn't want to do this with a plastic dryer one. It'd cut a hole right in it. But anyway, right after that curb, right here, it's cleared out. And so the same thing happened on the outside where the flaps went up, and we're gonna take a blower through here and blow it out with a leaf blower, and then we'll show you where the vent is on the outside of the house. But all of this created a backup of heat, which blew out our thermostat, which meant the clothes wouldn't dry. So annual maintenance is your key. So you can see I just got a leaf blower, put some duct tape along here because otherwise you get a lot of blowback coming this way, and I want all the air to go that way. And so when you turn it on, then that pushes obviously everything outside. Okay, so you can see up here, this is when I blew the leaf blower, it blew stuff out here, stuff on the ladder. Just got a little bit of leftover stuff in here. I'm gonna reach in here and just pull it out. This is where the stuff I showed you previously was at. So we'll just open up each one of these little doors, and you can see inside here, there's a little bit more in there that I'm going to clean out, but I could take this cover off, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to grab a pair of tweezers and reach in there and yank it out. Oh, maybe I'll take it off. It might be easier to get a good clean job. So I'm just going to unscrew these 4 bolts, take off the cover, and clean it out good. Okay, so this is the inside of a Samsung dryer, taken apart. Pretty fascinating. Let me just describe a few things. Obviously the power is out. In order to get this out, you have to start with a screw here and here. Then you push the lid back, which is right here. Just push the lid back, and then from there, there's a control panel here that you simply pull. There's no screws, you just pull it out and then you disconnect the connector. And then from there, you disconnected the door, so there's a piece right here, and you unscrew this and down the bottom, and then the front door comes off. And then there's the actual drum container, and those screw in right here, and he undid that and took it off. And so once he had that off, then he reached into here, which is where the spring is for the belt that goes onto the drum. And then once you release the belt, then you can just take this whole drum out, and with the drum out, you can see the belt down there. Then we're at this stage, and this connects, and you just disconnect it and unhook it from the several clips, and holy cow, the whole thing's just out and clean. So anyway, down in here our problem was the heating element. So the heating element down here had an issue, and it turned out that it was the thermostat. You can do that by just checking it with electrolysis. In here is the actual computer part of it. So yeah, pretty straightforward. There's the piece he took off that released some things, so we'll see how that all gets put back together again. But he had it disassembled really quickly from a cleaning standpoint. The drum is transferable. You can switch it left to right, but overall pretty straightforward.